Hello and welcome to Group One Background Screenings webinar. I'm David Graves, Group One Sales Representative, and joining me today are Steve Fischer, our Operations Analyst, and Chris Wilson, our Marketing and Communications Director. Today's presentation is titled Power, Tips, and Tricks, Unlocking the Secrets of the Group One Platform. So I want to thank both of our guests for being here today. Thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Glad to have you here, Chris, and especially happy to have you here, Steve.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, David.
Good. Well, today we have a very exciting presentation planned for our audience. We're going to be talking about the Group One background screening platform and sharing some very helpful tips and tricks to help you, the audience, be able to navigate better inside the system. And we did a survey a little while back, and we just want to let you know that we have heard you. And based on the feedback and the surveys and the comments and feedback that you provided, we were able to put together this presentation today. And we did it so that it would help you better understand, along with the tips and tricks that Steve Fischer is going to share with us today, to get you better through the Group One system. So also just let you know, at the end of the program today, we're going to be doing a Q&A session where you can ask any question that you want to ask. You can even put the questions in the chat along the way, and we'll get to them at the end of the presentation and answer your questions. But before we begin, a little housekeeping. I need to share just a little legal preference with you, as we do want to preface the webinar by saying that we're not attorneys. The information and opinions expressed are for educational purposes only and are based on current practice, industry-related knowledge, and business expertise. So the information that you receive today should not be construed as legal advice, express or implied. You should always consult your legal counsel when it comes to background screening compliance issues.
David, you're not an attorney? I thought you were an attorney.
Yeah. No, I'm not an attorney yet. I have not yet passed the bar. What about you, Chris and Steve? Have you guys got your attorney's license yet?
Neither an attorney nor a banker.
Not me either.
We do, though, hope that the information that we provide today will be helpful in your navigation of the Group One background screening platform. I want to share with you some of the topics that we're going to be going through today, and then I'm going to turn it over to Steve Fischer, and he's going to start walking us through the Group One system. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about today is access requests and account management, system notifications, how to read a report like a pro, how to customize your homepage dashboard, customizing the screening lists page, applicant portals and applicant quick invites, and then system reports. So we'll be going through all of those. And so Steve Fischer is going to talk to us about the Group One system, and we're going to transition here into the Group One system. But let me go ahead and introduce to you Steve Fischer.
Well, thank you, David and Chris. Great job, as usual. Let me start by saying, Chris, thank you for that wonderful picture from me when I was in 9th grade. I don't know if anybody caught that, but I have changed a little bit over the years. 19 years now at Group One, and so I don't quite look like that anymore. But that was a nice touch, Chris. Thank you.
It makes you feel younger, though, anyway, right?
It does, yeah. So, as I said, I've been here now almost 20 years. I've seen several Group One systems. In fact, I was hired on to document. I used to be an actual technical writer. I was brought on to document a system that Group One was having custom built internally back in 2007. We launched that system in 2009, which was, we called it Go Research internally. It was an expensive system, had a lot of neat features, which we have carried on into this system, but we decided in 2015 to go with a more of an off-the-shelf system, something that was shared by multiple background screening companies, big companies, little companies. We would acquire our own server, but that maintenance side of the equation, as well as neat ideas that other competitors were bringing to the table, we all got to share in that functionality. So we were able to share some of our functionality as well as what the big screeners were doing. And what it created was a system I like to say is infinitely scalable. And so that's what we have here now today in GroupOne, an infinitely scalable system, meaning that pretty much anything you can think of, we can make this system do. Now today, I'm not going to go that advanced, and there's so many features that I'm going to just try and cover some things that will help you operate a little more efficiently. And if you are more of an advanced user than what you're hearing today, feel free to reach out to David or myself or client support and just let them know, hey, I'd like a little more in-depth training on some of these features, and we'll be happy to set up a one-on-one session with you, the client. So keep that in mind.
We'll also provide contact information at the end of today's presentation, so you'll have our emails and phone numbers as well.
Correct. Okay. So the first part we're going to talk about is just access request, account management, how to actually, some people attending today may not have access to the system. Your company may use the system, but you may not have access. But maybe you're thinking, well, I work in the billing department. I would like to have access so I can view invoices or look at things a little closer. So to gain access to the system, it's really easy. You can contact either our client support team or send one of us an email. You'll have the contact information for ourselves. But as well, if you just go to a coworker and say, hey, can you print me out a authorized access agreement form, your coworker that has access to GroupOne can just log in, go to documents and forms. There's lots of handy documents in there, but one thing you'll find is the authorized access agreement form. And that form we must have on file for anybody that's ever authorized to access our system. We must have that filled out. So if you got a new coworker coming in that needs access, or maybe again you work in a different department, you'd like to have access, just tell your coworker, hey, get me an authorized access agreement form, or reach out to GroupOne, we'll provide one. You simply return that, and it takes no time. Once that form's approved, we just set you up in the system, and you'll be off and running. And when we send the credentials and set you up, you also get an email with a quick start guide and kind of everything you need to know to get up and running in the system and placing. Okay, and as well, in this section, we were going to talk about account management and other further access. Some people may have a setup where I do my pre-employment background screening in one account. I have another department that does batch sanction screening or what have you. If you need access to multiple accounts and you only currently have access to one account, again, just contact client support or fill out the authorized access agreement, specify I need access to this additional account, and we'll get you that access. And then one other little power tip here on that front is you'll notice that I have access to multiple accounts, and I have a drop-down menu right here to access whatever accounts I have access to. And some of y'all will have that feature depending on when your account was set up, and some of you won't, but we can grant that to anybody that has access to multiple accounts in our system. So if you just contact client support and say, hey, I saw that neat little drop-down for a quick switch, that'll allow you to change between the accounts you have access to much easier than the old traditional way. Just something to note there as we talk about access. Then we'll go ahead and move on to system notifications. We get a lot of calls on client support. We also get a lot of live chats. For some of y'all, you're not familiar with the live chat, we'll go ahead and show you that now so you are. And that's this little icon at the top, Start Chat. Now, personally, I can't stand robotic chats. I don't like a bot chat, somebody that's attempting to be a human. Pardon me. We actually have humans in our office that respond to these chats. So as long as that icon is green like that, Start Chat, then just click on that, one of our people in the office will pick up your call. One of our experts in the client support area will pick up that chat, and it's a real person. It'll tell you their name. They'll say, hi, how are you? And you just tell them what you'd like to know. So if you're not using that live chat, I highly recommend it. It's very efficient. Saves you from having to pick up the phone or wait in a phone queue. And it is live people. And then there are other ways to reach support. You can call client support's hotline and what have you. I think all of that is available right on the website, particularly under docs and forms. But just remember this start chat at any time. I think that's 7:30 to 5:30 or 7:30 to 5 Central Time. That's available. And if it's not available, if it's grayed out, you can just click on it and it'll say leave a message. And then as soon as somebody's back on that desk, they're going to respond to your message. And there's many other ways to inquire about a report and what have you, but that live chat is a very handy way of doing so. So one thing that we get a lot of calls on client support about is system notifications or knowing, is my report done yet? Is it not done? And I'm going to go in extensively into reports and the screenings list. So give you a better idea of how to judge that. But just to let you know, you can control on your own how the system notifies you. There's several options for that. And let me just show you how to do it. If you go to My Account, in that top menu, just click on My Account and then go to Account Management. And we are recording this presentation. You'll be able to rewatch all of this and know how to do it, but it's good to take notes. But if you go to, again, My Account, Account Management, and then find your username right here under User Management and click Edit. Now here you can change things such as your personal details. Maybe your name has changed, your address has changed, your job title's changed. You can change any of that, telephone number, email address. And I'll let you know if you want notifications sent to multiple people, like we have some clients that will actually set up their email notifications to not only notify them, but maybe they have a managing department that watches the background screening, or they have a general mailbox that gets all the background screening notices. Then you can add that right here with your email address by just doing a comma separated email list. So I've got my name, my email address, then I could go comma requests at hr.com or what have you, whatever the other email addresses are. Mm-hmm. Anywhere you would like notices from the system to go, you can just do a comma separated list there and it will email all of those addresses when notifications go out. Now, some of y'all probably get notifications. Others may not. You may call and say, oh, I didn't get any notification or what have you. This is something you can fix yourself. You just go into this section and choose how you want to be notified. I think by default, it's probably set up as never email me. But you just choose something different. So let me go over what the email notifications are. Probably the one that's used the most is notify me whenever an order is completely filled, so that you'll get an email from our system. The second a background screening report completely finishes, you'll get an email, simple little email that has the link to that report in our system. It'll tell you the status of all the items that were in that report on that email. It also gives you a link directly to that order. So as long as you're logged in our system and you click on that link, it's going to take you right into that order and allow you to view the completed report or add to the report or what have you. That's the notify me whenever an order is completely filled option. There's another slightly more annoying option, but some of y'all want every detail about a request. So if you choose notify me every time new data arrives, if you've got a pretty extensive package and there's a lot of notes going in from researchers and updates from integrated vendors and what have you, every time something changes about that request, you would get an email if you choose notify me every time new data arrives. Again, that email will tell you what changed and give you a link right to that pending report. So notify me every time new data arrives. It would also notify you if the report completes. but it's gonna notify you if one researcher puts in a note, I made an attempt, called this number, call back Tuesday. That little attempt would send you an email as well. So if you don't mind a bunch of emails and you want it that way, so you know every detail is happening, then choose this option, notify me every time new data arrives. Yeah, and blow up your phone. The final option here is notify me only the first time there's an update since my last login. So it kind of works like the notify me every time new data arrives, but it's only going to notify you of anything that's changed since your last login. So if nothing changed after that email, you're not going to get a next email. It'll just notify you once. And when you log back in, that counter resets. But probably again, David, I think the most used is the completed report.
Yeah, notify me whenever an order is 100% completed.
Right.
Most popular.
Yeah, I think probably 99% of the users set that up. So again, if you want to control this yourself, you just go to my account, and account management. Look for your username under user management and click edit. Make your changes here. The system will remember that, and from now on you'll get whichever kind of notification you ask for. Or if you're getting notifications now and you don't want notifications, you can also come here and turn it off. Again, you can contact us through live chat or contact our support desk, tell them what you're wanting to do, and they'll do it for you. But you can also control it yourself, which is what we wanted to show you here. And here you can also choose, as far as in that email body, I told you it sends you a link to the report, and we'll go over what's the difference between an HTML and a PDF report, but you can change those options here. So maybe you just want to see the final printable PDF. You want a link to that in your notification. Then you can change that here. You have the option to either do that or go to the HTML report where you have different options. And again, we're going to go over that. You also have some options such as suppressing call history on completed reports. So that's like researcher notes and what have you. By default, that is set to do not suppress call history. So those notes will be on your reports. If you're not seeing them, you can go in here and say, hey, I don't want to see those notes, or I want to see those notes. And that's how you can change that. Then applicant portals, which we have a section we're going to go over about that. There's some notification options there as well. Like if the applicant's invite has expired and the applicant hadn't responded yet, you want an email about that, you can select that here. Okay. And then how to read a report like a pro. Let's take a look at that now. Some of y'all are familiar with Danny Davila. He's our Director of Compliance and other compliant client-related options.
Director of FCRA Compliance.
Thank you, Chris.
And he hasn't, and he knows it all.
Yeah, he does. So he asked me to go over the completed reports and, just give a quick overview on how you really read a report. And we're going to go over not only how to read a report, but your different options for how to look at summaries or report lists. This particular section is how to read a report like a pro. So the first thing I want to let you know, again, you'll hear me talk about HTML views and PDF views. A summary view is just you can just quickly open what's in that report. You don't get a whole lot of options there, but it just gives you a quick view so you can see maybe statuses of individual items. You can also click on HTML. Now the difference between an HTML report and a PDF report. PDF is just what it sounds like. It's just a printable document format. It's going to be the printout of the completed background check, or if it's pending, it'll have a watermark and it'll still be a PDF. There's no options. You can't add to that report or anything. It's just a viewable document that you could print. So when a report's complete, you can certainly click that, bring the PDF right up and print it, view it, and what have you. Now the difference with an HTML report, if I click on HTML, or if I click anywhere in one of these screening list items, it's going to bring up the HTML report view. HTML just means it's an active web page view of that request. And so there's different options in here for you. When you open that, you see, who ordered the report, the different demographics of the applicant, what have you. You could add billing identifiers or change billing identifiers if you have that permission. But the most important thing to remember about an HTML report is you have options. You have user options. You could add to this order. Let's say I have an order that's pending, but I just found out this person worked elsewhere and I want to verify that employment as well. I can go right into this order, add to order, and choose employment verification and add that employment verification. It's not uncommon. So if you want to add anything to the report, just choose your HTML version of the report. You have some different options there. But you also have the ability to, again, check on this request. Let's just say I don't want to hit the live chat, or they're not there right now, or the phone's busy, or what have you. Not that that ever happens, but you have this customer service inquiry action as well. I like this option because if I'm viewing this report and have a question about anything, I can just click customer service inquiry. It already recorded the order number, and I can just give a brief description of my issue or my question and hit submit request, and our client support team's going to get it right away, and they will respond to you. They know the details, they know the order number. So it's just a real quick, easy way to.
How quickly do they respond to that when you submit a request?
That's a great question, Chris. If they're in the office, they will respond probably within, I'd say 15 minutes. If they're out of the office, then it'll be next morning when the desk opens again.
Okay.
But it's a neat little option just because it's quick. You don't have to wait on anybody. You don't have to explain. Some people do a better job explaining in a little text blurb here. So, yeah, you have that option. Now, to Danny's point, he kind of wanted to go over the different statuses. So, again, to really check on stuff and see notes and what have you. This was Danny's big concern. Was we get a lot of calls on client support where somebody says, well, I see my report is pending. Well, they haven't even drilled in. Some folks haven't even drilled in. If I go back to the screenings list and I see, oh, my report for John Bad is pending. So a lot of people go straight to the start chat and chat with client support, or they'll pick up the phone and call without really digging in. Some people may not know they have the ability to dig in, but if you go to the HTML view, again, you can do that from here, or you can do it by clicking anywhere in this row. Then you have some options to really dig in and see what's pending. All we know is the report is pending as a whole. So now I can kind of see, oh, they're done with most of it. Wait a minute, here's education and it's pending. Why is it pending? Well, our researchers are very good about putting in notes, and this is kind of a way for you to hold them accountable as well. Maybe you're not seeing enough notes. You can certainly let Danny know, and I guarantee you that team member will start adding more notes. But so I see an item pending. If I click on it and I look at what's going on, I see the researcher put in some notes. Here, the researcher spoke with Bertha Jett. Bertha said the records are not available until Tuesday, 8/4/2026, and that was a call. Then it looks like the next event, the researcher was good about noting. This time they got a hold of Tamara Jones. It was also a call. Tamara says Bertha's no longer employed with the company, and that verification must be obtained through Student Clearinghouse. So this is kind of giving you a timeline of why this thing is still pending. And then they would have probably added a note, say, and going to Student Clearinghouse, and then probably fairly quickly that would have completed. But just want you to know, you can find the notes from the researchers. You don't always have to just pick up the phone and call. You're welcome to do that. But I think it makes it more efficient for everybody if you check the status and kind of know what's going on by viewing the notes. Let's see if there's some other examples of that. I'm not sure if there are in this demo request, but I'm looking at this employment. And so here's a great example where you might call Danny and say, well, I don't see any notes in there. And I guarantee you Danny will get after them and there'll be notes in there going forward. But Anyway, yeah, again, I just wanted to demonstrate that there is a way to check the status of items other than just looking at the dashboard and saying, oh, the order's still pending and contacting support, who then will have to dig in further. You can kind of do some of the digging yourself. Just again, just click on the item, scroll down, you can kind of see what's happening. And in most cases, there will be notes. This is a demo, so I think I only put a note in, obviously, for education, but yeah, this is where you would go to look. Just open up the HTML view of the report, click on the item, and scroll down and look at the researcher's notes. It's a great item to know. That's definitely a power trick. If you're not doing it, I highly recommend it. And then I would talk about statuses. So you'll notice that in this report, whether it's the HTML or the PDF view, you notice there's a different status or several statuses available for any item. SSN address trace, y'all probably noticed lately that we are reporting a status of, what is that status called? Discrepancy, complete discrepancy on some social security numbers. There's a good reason we started doing this, because before it might just say complete for a social security number trace. And if you didn't dig in and look, you might not know, hey, we found no names associated with that social security number, or the names we found are not related to the names that were entered in this request. So we'll report that. We can now catch it and we report it as a complete discrepancy. When you see that discrepancy, like you see down here, when you see that next to the SSN, it means, anytime you should be viewing every item in your report anyway, but if you click on that SSN address trace when it's a discrepancy, you're going to see that something, either we couldn't find a name in there and it'll tell you the names don't match, or there's no records available. And just to speak a little bit about the SSN address trace, that is information that comes from credit headers. So if it's a very young applicant and they haven't established any credit, they haven't applied for any credit, they haven't made any purchases in towns they've lived or worked, then it probably will come back as a discrepancy because there was no match in the credit header information, which comes from credit bureaus. Now, you'll notice here, the SSN address trace completed fine. And if I click on it, now some of y'all may have this view turned on and some don't, but just want you to know you have the option if you would like to see last seen dates, first seen date, and the county for this individual or for their alias. The credit headers will provide us that information. We just have to change a setting in our system to make sure that shows for your account. That's something you can either contact myself or David or client support and just say, hey, I want to see last seen, first seen address information with my SSN address trace. So I wanted to show you an example of what that looks like when you include that. Some people don't like all that on their PDF report. It makes the PDF report more lengthy, or they feel it's unnecessary to have that, or maybe it's not compliant to show that on the final report. Just know that you have the option if you'd like to see that. This address to CRIM history 7-year, that's an automatic component that runs in the background that just looks at that address information and says, hey, in the last 7 years, is there any county that's not been added to this request that I can automatically add based on that address trace information? So it's not something we charge for or anything. It's just so that we are doing our due diligence. We're looking back and saying, hey, this person lived in a county they didn't order, and then it'll automatically add that county to the order. It's a great feature. It makes sure that your report is as thorough as you're going to get from anybody. It's one thing we really pride ourselves on. The multi-jurisdictional, this is an interesting topic and an area of lots of confusion. But what the multi-jurisdictional alias criminal history is, and some people may have in the past called it a national crim search or that kind of thing. What it really is, we call it it's the widest possible net. It is a network of anywhere from 1,700 to 2,000 different available online databases. They could be city repositories, state DPS records, they could be federal records, it's just 1,700, as many available online sources as we can tap to run that extra check and say, hey, is this person in any of those databases? It's a great tool. And it's pointer data, as we call it. So if we find something in that multi-jurisdictional, maybe you didn't order or you did order different counties, but that information wasn't reported at that county. If you see it, if our researchers find something in multi-jurisdictional, we're not going to report it in multi-jurisdictional. We're actually going to go and add that county to the order. Wherever it said that crime happened or that event happened, whether it's reportable or not, if we see it in the multi-jurisdictional, our criminal team immediately knows I'm going to go add that county and look closer. So we're sure not to miss anything. That's why we refer to that as a wider net. It tosses a wide net over the whole country, and it may find things that we didn't see by simple state or county searches. So it's a great tool. Everybody has that, I think, in their pre-employment packages. Mm-hmm. If you don't see it, certainly let us know and we'll throw that in there for you. But that's the multi-jurisdictional. Again, we don't report what we found in the multi-jurisdictional. It'll say hits, but where we report it is that county that we had. So if it is reportable, we're going to mark multi-jurisdictional as hits, and it'll have a note that says reported at the county level or what have you. And then in that county where it was reported, they would have another note that says also found in multi-jurisdictional. We just stay out of trouble. You don't want to report something twice on a report. That's essentially the same thing. So we got a very good method of making sure we don't miss records, and then protecting you by not double reporting something on somebody's report. So other statuses you might see under review. Under review, and if you click on this item in the HTML view, you're going to see it just looks like information was provided. Whatever was in that original order is there, but you don't see the source. You don't see what we found when we researched it. Well, that's because under review means it is currently in QA and they are deciding whether we're going to show that or not. So if you ever see under review, it just means, hey, that's the last stage for this item. The verification's already been completed. We just have our QA team making sure that everything looks right before we say, hey, we're going to show it. And you may see that on criminal items. In fact, very likely you'll see it on criminal research, but just know that under review means this particular item is being reviewed by our QA team. Discrepancy under verification. So I explained discrepancy under the SSN trace, which should make sense. The person's not old enough. We don't have any information. We just want to make you aware something about that SSN address trace we can't verify based on credit header information. So we show that as a discrepancy. But if you see a discrepancy in this, like in an employment verification or a licensure verification or education, if you see discrepancy, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means we have a set of parameters that we base what is a discrepancy and what doesn't constitute a discrepancy. I don't have those right off the top of my head, but I can tell you it's usually something like, well, the person said they were a surgeon and we find out they're a cook in the mess hall or what have you. That's certainly a discrepancy we would want to point out to you.
Or dates of employment.
Dates of employment. So that's probably what this one is. In fact, as I look at it, you see the provided. Notice how there's always a provided by subject. That's what came into the order, whether it came from the applicant or applicant tracking system or what. Provided by subject. That may come from their resume, and you'll use a resume parser. But that's what came from the subject. This is what they're saying. Whether they're being honest or not, that's not really for us to know. But we're going to tell you if something didn't match up. So where it says provided by source, this is where we verified it. We contacted Davila Construction. We did see that they're a foreman. But here, the applicant said that they had worked there since 2022. Well, we talked to HR over at Davila Construction, and they said this person didn't start till 2024. So we could not verify that they had started 2022. And again, we have some parameter there that it triggers a discrepancy. In other words, if it's just 2 months off, 3 months off, we're probably just going to verify it. But if it's 3 or 4 months off, I'm not sure what that timeline is. You can certainly contact us, contact Danny or client support, and we can tell you what those parameters are. But in this case, it's 2 years off. So we are going to report it as a discrepancy. We feel that's very important to do so, bring that to your attention. So that's the main thing to know about statuses on reports. If I go to the screening view, the list view, there's statuses there as well. Obviously, a pending status would just mean something is in that report is still up for review, or is still being worked on. Maybe there's a school that's shut down for the summer or what have you. Again, I want to know what it is. I just click on it. I go in and I look for that pending item. I click on that, scroll down and see what the researchers are saying about it. So great tool there. You don't always have to contact client support. In most cases, you should have a note right from the research team or the vendor letting you know what the issue is. And I do encourage y'all to let us know either through Danny or David or whatever if you're not seeing enough of these kind of notes. And again, if you want to get an email every time something changes, like a researcher puts in a new note, then you can again go to that setup and set up your notifications to send you a notification every time new data arrives. I don't know how long you'll keep it that way, but you can certainly do that. Okay, and moving along, let's go to customizing your homepage dashboard. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but let me just go to the home page by clicking on home. And right off the bat, let me just knock this out. You'll see this little picture here, and I don't know how big it is to you, but if you can see that, it's a Little Debbie logo and the Little Debbie character. Some of y'all have eaten the cakes. I know I've been eating them for years.
I love them.
But you can change this picture, and I would probably encourage you to do that using a picture off of your local machine. It's very easy to do, and the reason why you might want to do it is, let's just use a bad example. Let's say I'm in the conference room, I'm logged into GroupOne, I walk away for a minute or whatever, somebody else is in the conference room, they sit down to the wrong computer. This will show them immediately. If I use my own picture here, they can see on all screens of our system, hey, this is Bob. That's Bob's picture. This must be Bob's computer. Bad example, but that's why that exists. Just so you know who you're logged in as. You should only ever be logged in as yourself. I'm certainly not encouraging doing anything different, but that'll just kind of keep you on track, let you know, hey, whoops, I'm in Bob's login.
So you would just click on it and just upload an image.
Yeah, it's very easy. It'll walk you right there. Just click on it, choose file, and browse through your picture or whatever image you'd like to use, and click upload, and then that picture will always show there.
Okay.
And also up in this top corner, you're always going to see what account you're in and what username you're logged in as. Something to keep good track of. Again, this drop-down menu here, this is for people that have access to multiple accounts. Some of y'all that have been in the system for a long time may not have this turned on. So if you're having to go the old way through my account and dig around until you find switch users, and you want this other super easy method, just contact client support and say, hey, I want that drop down to switch between my accounts. And if you need access to a different account that you don't have access to, but you know your company has 5 different GroupOne accounts and you're supposed to have access, again, you can call client support and we'll get that access agreement updated and get you the access you need.
And that's very common with our clients that have a drug screening account and a background screening account. They now have the ability to toggle back and forth instead of that long process with the switch user that they had before.
Exactly.
Good to know.
And then some other customizations you can do, and some people mess with this and others don't, but you have a certain number of widgets on this dashboard. There's more widgets available. A widget is just one of these little quick access windows. You can customize this any way you want. If you see an edit page layout button, then you can edit this yourself. If you don't see that, again, you can call client support, myself or David, and we will have that function activated for you. But all that does is, I'll just give you an example how somebody might use it. So I click on edit page layout. Let's just say this is the quick invite. I don't ever use quick invite, so I could turn that off or drag it to the bottom of the page. It'll go away, and then maybe I want to look at more widgets. What else does GroupOne have available? And you look down here, you got a few more options, order by SSN. This one I think is pretty neat, so I can just drag that to the top of the screen. And let's just say I'm gonna put it somewhere like this, and I'll stretch it out and shape it the way I want it. And I can make that like a shortcut right to my screenings list, so I don't actually have to go to screenings. I can have my screenings list right here. So maybe you filter that down, and I'm going to show you this to just your hits or whatever. You could have that. You could have a widget right on your dashboard that just shows you, hey, I've got these hits sorted by the last update, what have you. So you can just play around with this. You can't really hurt anything. Just try, hit the, again, the edit page layout button, scroll down and look at what all widgets are available. If you see something you like, try it. If you think your dashboard's too busy, you can clean that up as well. Some of this stuff, and I'm not going to go over a whole lot of this because it's not really a power tip, but
Question for you,
yeah.
Steve. Is this available to all users, or is this something that needs to be enabled for
well, as
users?
I just explained, it is available to all, but when you go in here, you may not have the edit button and you may have the edit button.
Okay.
So I'm gonna save the page layout, even though I didn't really take much time with it. I'll save it, and I'm gonna click stop editing. And now I'm back to a normal dashboard. None of this is movable. And you'll notice I do have the edit page layout button. So as I said, when I came into this section, if you don't see the edit page layout button, just contact David or myself or client support, and we will activate that for you. Great question. Thank you. All right. So that's just kind of customizing the dashboard. Again, you can play with that. You can't really break it. Anything you hide, any widget you hide, you can always go back into edit page layout and find it at the bottom. Some of this stuff's kind of interesting. I always thought this one was interesting. It's like a turnaround time map. This looks at the average of, now I've hidden it, but it kind of looks at the average that we are currently experiencing in the last 90 days for any county in the country. And you can blow that map up to a full page, and you can scroll over it and you can see, oh shoot, this at, I can't even pronounce it. I would pick one of those. Let's say Frio, Texas. They're averaging 30 days turnaround time. No wonder this item's still pending. So some people find this map handy, or they say, I'm going to take the risk. It's too long for that county, whatever. But I don't recommend that. Anyway, just kind of going over some of these widgets. I would recommend, if you're interested, go in and play with them. Some of this is like turnaround time meters and stuff. You might find that interesting, or how many invites you have in progress, how many are pending, how many have completed. These are also should be links right to the invitation page. Again, just go in there and edit that dashboard and try out some of those features. You can't break it. You can always put it back together, or we can help you. The next thing I wanted to look at was customizing the screenings list. Now, to me, this is the most powerful part of this presentation, and I think the most powerful part of the system. And that's how you utilize this. There's so many features on the screenings list. I'm sure this is where y'all spend the majority of your time, but if you go to screenings, checked individuals, that brings up your screenings list. There's always going to be a default. Now here it's labeled as a report. It's not truly a report. It's the view of what you're looking at here. So you notice there's a default, and you can set whatever that default is. I'm just going to go over a couple of scenarios here. So I'm going to start with columns. Now you can set whatever columns you want. Maybe the columns that are showing on that screenings list you don't even care about them. Some people just want to see package and order date, or some may want to say, I want to see billing identifiers, package, order date, that kind of thing. So just, again, I would encourage you to try different things here, get different columns showing. So here I've added the order date. I've added billing identifier 1. So I know some of y'all have billing identifiers that are automatic to the ATS integration, or maybe you chose a billing identifier or entered one on your quick invite. So I'm going to show my billing identifiers. I chose to show order dates and packages. Now I also, let's just say I'm going to change the order date so that I always have the newest ones on top. So now I've kind of altered my checked individual system default. I always want it to be sorted. I know this is driving some of y'all crazy because the system will, by default, it's going to organize it by the person's name, like first name, last name, that kind of thing, or last name, first name. So I think it's more important to have my most recent ones on top. I think anybody would. So you can just sort that, but then you go and make sure that you save the report. So again, this is the checked individuals system defaults, probably what 90% of y'all come to when you go to the screenings list. Just sort it the way you want it, and then go here to create a report. And you'll notice you could create a whole new view, or you could just update that system default, checked individual system default. That's what I'm going to do. So now anytime I go to the screenings checked individuals list, it's going to be sorted the way I expect it to be sorted. But some other handy tips here that I think are super powerful is the filtering options. So because you want to have a lot of quick views here. Think about it. If I only want to see my hits today or for the next hour, I'm just focusing on reports that had hits, or maybe I'm doing an audit and I need to see only my hits. So it's easy to set up. Just go to filters, get the sorting the way you want it, get the columns the way you want it, go to filters, and then here just choose, let's say I only want to see hits. Well, you do that by the disposition color. So if I click on red, and you have to click these a couple times, they attempt to be efficient for you, and some uncheck and some don't check, some recheck. I just want red. All I want to see is hits, which means that would be a red disposition. I'm going to click apply filter changes. Now the only thing I have showing in this list are my hits. So I want to save that as a drop down option. I would go create report, and I would name it like my hits or something, my hits. Again, you could do this just for the reports you're ordering, some of these larger clients, but let's go ahead and save that new report as my hits. I will close it. And now if I go to checked individuals, I will notice that I have a quick way to view my hits now. Of course, I've created a lot of these for a lot of different demos, but theoretically I could say hits, and all I should see is my hits. I think I named one my hits. Oh, there it is. Same difference. So you can do the same thing for pending orders. You'll notice I've added some pending orders, or for archived orders. You have so many options, and I just highly recommend setting these up, taking the time and setting them up. So again, I'm going to go back to my default. I know we're running behind on time here. But I've got my checked individual system defaults. Again, you can't hurt anything here. You always have your system default. You can create as many views using filters. Let's just say I want to quickly set up my 2025 orders. All I want to see is what I did in 2025. I could choose them here, choose the date range, apply the filter changes, and then again go to create a report, name it my 2025 orders or what have you. If you have a lot of users in your system, this is where you can say, I only want to see my orders, and you could highlight my orders, my name, and then apply those filter changes. And now whatever view I create is only going to be the people that I selected. If I want to select multiple users, I can click on one, then I can hold down the control key, click on multiples, and then apply those filter changes. And now I'll only see the orders that were placed by those individuals. Again, if I get a view the way I like it, I played with the filters, I want this date range, I'm going to name it something unique, then I just go to create a report, I call it what I want, I save the new report. Now, if I want that to be my default, let's just say from now on, I only want to see my hits when I go to this page. Then just go to Manage Reports, and you can select which report you want to be the default. So I'm going to say, I want my hits to be the default. And once you get off of that and go back to screenings, checked individuals, you'll notice that now it defaults to the hits every time I go to screenings.
Very nice.
So you can't really mess this up. Again, we are running shy on time, and I know we want to open it to some questions. But what I was going to tell you is that if you need deeper instruction about any of this, just contact us. We'll have a one-on-one with your team, and we can go into any of these specific tricks or tips and help you all out individually. The last thing I was going to go over, a couple of just short ones real quick. The applicant portals. So some of y'all use this, some of you don't. Some of y'all have ATS integrations. Either way, if you use an applicant quick invite or you have an ATS integration, you're using our applicant portal system. So a quick invite, I know a lot of y'all use these days, just allows, it saves you time from entering so much information. You can just put in their first name, their last name, a correct email address, pick your essential criminal or whatever package you have. You may have 5 packages, pick the right package, send to applicant. Our system will email the applicant regularly over a period of, the default I think is over 7 days. We can set that to anything you want. Some of y'all have that set to 14 days. Some of you have it set to 3 days. When you send that quick invite, they will be contacted. Our system will email them twice a day until they respond. Now, usually if somebody's looking for a job, they're going to respond, right away, no time. And it's going to take them step by step through the process of entering whatever's in that package. If they have employment verification, the applicant will enter their employment, education, what have you, whatever's required in that package. The applicant will do all that work for you. And then they also will sign their consent. And we can customize that consent if you have your own consent. In fact, I think we encourage you, if you have your own consent, let us know. If we're not already utilizing that consent, we'll set up our system so that the applicant signs that consent. The applicant portal, that same thing the quick invite is taking them to, that same system's utilized by our ATS integrations. So if you have like Workday and you place an order, our system gets the information through Workday. When you say order a group 1, we create an order, and then the applicant portal kicks in. It emails the applicant, it gets any missing information, has them sign the consent and what have you. So that's the applicant portal and quick invite system. Again, if you need further details on any of that, contact us and we'll be happy to have a custom session for you, go over any of these features in detail. The last thing I was going to show very quickly is reports. So there are some system reports available to you, and mainly these are data downloads. You also have invoices, so you can see any of your current invoices. If you have multiple accounts, then you can click on all accounts, or if you just want the name summary, who did I run this month or what have you, and what was the total cost. You have some different invoicing options. So if you have access to that, maybe you're the billing department or you're the director, you do have access to see your invoicing. But reporting, you do have some options here that come in handy. Most of these just produce an Excel spreadsheet. In fact, I think they all do. A search results report, you click on that, you just put in the date range and create the report. It's going to give you an Excel sheet of each applicant, everything that was run on that applicant and what the results were. This one will break it out by product type, pretty much the same report, but really going to get granular on each product. The subject applicant information, for whatever date range you choose, it'll spit you out a list of the exact applicants and their demographic information, who was run during that time period. Pending individuals, maybe you've got a large organization, you got 100 people pending, or you ran 100 checks, 30 of them are still pending. There's a quick way to grab a CSV report of who's still pending. Subject alert, maybe you're running something like a sanctions package and I just want to see who my hits were for last year. You could grab the date range here and pull an Excel sheet for whatever that date range is that will point out the hits. Show billing, you got a couple different billing options here. So just in case you didn't know, you do have some reporting options. And David, I know I have run over Chris. I know you're back here managing us. So I'm going to cut it here and we're going to open it up to some questions.
Awesome. Steve, thank you so much. I know that's a lot of information. I know that our users that are listening in today are very appreciative of the information you shared. I figure you probably have enough information. You probably could have went for another hour or two.
Days till Thanksgiving.
And you called the system infinitely scalable.
That's correct. Yes.
Infinitely scalable.
Yeah.
So many options inside the system. Chris, if we could look and see if we've got any
We do. We got someone
questions.
from Daphne there. She goes, sorry, can you show us again where to click that customer service inquiry?
Oh, okay, great. So if just within the HTML report view, so if you open up a view by just, yeah, I'll do it, sure.
Go ahead, you're the expert.
Sure, okay, so if I just go to checked individuals and let's say I want to know something about this particular report, I can just click on it anywhere or click the HTML option and then scroll down on the right side under these actions. And the very last one says customer service inquiry. It's already got the order number, so we know exactly what you're talking about. Just type your question, hit submit request. Maybe you can put in how you'd like to be contacted. We're already going to know who it is sending us the information, and we will contact you back with the answer to your question.
Great. Do we have any more questions on there? Chat? Let's see.
All right, let me go up here. We actually do have a question here. I'm just going to read it.
Okay.
It says here, how do we access the applicant disclosure in the GroupOne system showing that the applicant signed off on a background check?
Okay, that's a great question. So if there is a disclosure attached to the order, and there's multiple ways to get that there, if they're using Quick Invite, an applicant tracking system, or any of that, well, then you can guarantee that there is a release attached to the order. And you just simply go into that same view I just showed you of an active order, the HTML view, and you look for a section in that view called Documents. And if you'll open that section, you're going to see the attached release. There's also a way in that right side actions menu where it says View Attached Documents, and it'll show you any document attached to the order.
Okay. All right, we got one last question here, then we have to shut it down. It says here, we are interested in moving to an ATS, applicant tracking system, I believe.
Awesome.
How will that affect our ordering process? We currently use the Quick Invite in the GroupOne system.
Okay, that's a fabulous question. I could probably talk another couple hours about that. So if you're considering an ATS option, which is a great option, a lot of the bigger systems are using those. And basically that means from the time the applicant applies to that system, let's say it's Workday, the applicant applies to a job at your facility. If you're integrated GroupOne to that ATS, Workday, or whatever your ATS is, we're not scared of any of them. But if you integrate it, then once it's fully integrated, you have an option to order a GroupOne background check right out of your ATS. So let's say I'm working on this applicant file for David Graves, who's applying at Methodist, what have you, and now I'm going to order his background check. So I'll just have a button through that integration to order a GroupOne background check. I don't have to go in and launch a Quick Invite or any of that. And that integration will contact, however we set up that ATS, it's going to contact and require of the applicant any missing information. It'll use that applicant portal I explained, and it will send an email to the applicant until they respond, gathering their missing information and having them sign the consent. And then that integration's two-way, so it's updating statuses in that ATS saying, hey, the applicant's done their part. Now the recruiter's reviewing it, and now the vendor is, GroupOne is now working on, and hey, here comes a completion status. So right there within that ATS, they get a completion status and a link directly back to the completed report, really without even having to go into the GroupOne system. We love the ATS integrations. It's good for everybody. So if you are considering that, don't hesitate to reach out and talk to us about it. We'll scope it out, work with your ATS provider, and get it integrated.
Awesome.
Great
Very
question.
good.
Well, we got our contact information up there.
Contact information is up there on the screen. So if you have any questions about today's presentation, don't hesitate to reach out, give us a call, or send us an email. We'll be happy to answer your questions. But thank you, everybody, for being here today, and we look forward to seeing everybody in the next webinar.
Awesome.
Thank
Sean.
you. Thank you, Steve. That was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Very good.